In this fast-paced world, many people prefer to act in their own self-interest rather than completing and achieving goals together with others. This leads to difficulty in finding in God's covenantal relationships, as these often come in collective forms. Hence, for a predominantly Catholic and collectivist country like the Philippines, these actions define what was taught to most of us.
Many don't submit, but God's covenantal relationships still remain relevant up to this day. These thousands of years old scriptures, which many may call outdated, reveal lessons that help us navigate throughout our struggles in day-to-day lives. God's covenantal relationships teach trust, obedience, and the importance of community that should still be observed today.
Welcome everyone, I am J.M. Peniranda and with me is...
I am Liam Ezekiel Redoble,
And we are your pod captains in today's episode. Personal Paths, Collective Bonds, a podcast on understanding covenantal themes in the Bible.
Today we have a special guest who will share his insights on the effects of over-individualism and how important God's covenantal relationships is to this issue.
That's right, Liam, a one-of-a-kind educator indeed. Currently a campus minister at Ateneo de Davao University Senior High School and the moderator of the Psalms Liturgical Choir. He has demonstrated great theological acumen that will be insightful for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Mr. Joey Jimenez.
Hello, Pastor.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
Okay, we're actually excited today's podcast, sir. And we have questions that we have prepared for you, sir. So, kidding aside, let's move on to the main topic of today's episode, individualism. Don't get us wrong, independence is vital. It helps you to build responsibility, accountability, and confidence. It also allows you to use your God's given gift of freedom to solve problems, grow, and be resilient.
But when independence becomes extreme, it turns into something harmful. Over-individualism happens when you focus only on yourself, your goals, your success, your comfort, while ignoring those around you. It sounds strong to say, I don't need anyone, but in reality, no one goes alone.
Well said, pare. Pero, Sir Joey, today we will bring questions regarding the topic of excessive individualism. We hope to learn more about your thoughts and experiences, gaining new insights from your time with us here. Okay, Sir Joey, are you ready for our questions?
Yes,
Okay,
of course.
Okay, so for your first question, sir, how can one tell that a person becomes too individualistic and is straying away from God's covenantal love, sir?
Okay, thank you so much. That question is very interesting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me quote the verse coming from the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 37 to 39, that says, love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And also, love your neighbor as yourself. And that is our pivotal point or starting point upon understanding individualism and collectivism. With that, the question earlier is that it speaks about as person, as human being, we do not only focus on ourselves, but also we have this responsibility to care for others and to socialize with other individuals. As God said, or as Jesus said earlier, that love your neighbor as yourself. With that, there is no such thing as over-individualism. Individualism is not bad, but overemphasizing that kind of ideology is very dangerous. Okay?
In what way, sir?
In what way? Okay. When you begin to decline to attend church worship, when you begin to decline or to join outreach program for the poor and also for the marginalized, that's the beginning where you overemphasize your personal life, forgetting the community that you are in.
Okay, sir. So, kasi in times today, sir, as teenagers, we tend rely on ourselves more because we are not really open with others. So, in what ways can we do so that we can prevent over individualism?
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, in today's generation where many young people nowadays are just staying in their comfort zone without relating to other individual, without going out from their room and spending time for their friends and also to the community, and most especially in the church, as this church service or worship. But now, this is a challenge in today's world, in this modern era, where every young people, the Bible text that I said earlier, yun sana ang ating mindset, na we need to care not only for ourselves, but also for others. Not only care, but also love. If you love God, everything follows. You cannot love others without loving God, and you cannot love God without loving others. Kumbaga, meron tayong tinatawag na horizontal and vertical relationship. When you say horizontal relationship, your relationship with other individual, especially in the community. But when you speak about vertical relationship, your relationship with God.
So it's like X and Y axis,
Yes.
Y axis, points of
Like-
this side.
Like in mathematics, di ba? Merong Cartesian coordinate plane.
Yes, sir.
Ganon. Ganon yung relationship. But do not forget also to recognize your very own self. Because many young people nowadays, they forget to emphasize their skills, their talents, and also their capability. It's because they are afraid to show off. They're afraid to express and to relate themselves with others.
Regardless.
Yes, correct.
Very relatable, sir. So, thank you for that question, sir. First question pa lang yung Liam mo. Pero grabe na. Malalaman mo talaga na expert si sir dito.
Hindi naman.
So for your second question, sir, ready ka na ba, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so for your second question rather, is it possible for individualistic and collectivistic values to coexist in Christian Catholic society? If so, when and how will we apply this?
Okay. Before answering to that question, I would like to underscore this one. The two things. When we speak about this topic, it has something to do with individualistic dimension and communal dimension. When we speak about individualistic dimension, it speaks about your personal freedom, your personal responsibility, and your very own self. And when we speak about communal dimension, it speaks about your relationship with other people in the community, and also in the church or where the community you belong. Okay, with that, it really coexists. The church teaches us that individualism and collectivism works hand in hand.
Yes.
But do not forget, do not overemphasize kahit isa sa kanila. Why? Because it may fall to a particular result, and bad result, or as
So,
this
parang-
dangerous result.
Kailangan i-balance na.
Yes, we need to strive for the balance.
So
like for example, in like you are riding a boat, di ba? In Cebuano term, meron siyang kati,
Ah, yes, sir, yes.
di ba?
Kung para sa boats, sorry.
Yes.
Para mag-
Okay.
Para maging balance. And also, I would like to use this analogy when say Pope John Paul II stresses his fides et ratio, that faith and reason are like two wings in contemplation for the truth. Kumbaga, we need faith in order for the reason to soar high. And we need reason to make our faith reasonable. Kumbaga, para siyang dalawang pakpak in contemplation for the truth.
Ano yun, sir? Fides.
Fides et ratio, faith and reason. And now, in connection to individualism and collectivism, that too is somewhat two wings in contemplation for the in addressing covenantal relationship, not only for yourself but also for God and others. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that answer, sir. For the next question, sir, my friend Liam will ask you
Okay.
this question for you.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much for your answer, sir. Parang speechless talaga ako dun, sir. Kasi
Yeah, like, tutok na ako, sir.
ngayon pa lang ako nakarinig ng mga terminologies mo, sir.
May Latin pa. May Latin pa. Fides et ratio.
Pero I think may kakilala ko na isang guro, isang teacher na mas ano to?
Mas marami na.
Marami pang alam talaga. And yan ay si Sir Maki.
Ay, sir.
Si Sir Maki. Kasi
Shout out, sir. Shout out.
si Sir Maki
Oh, Sir Maki,
Talaga.
teacher ka na dito, Sir Maki.
talaga napaka-brilliant minded talaga yan si Sir Maki.
Yes, sir, I agree. Then, masaya din siya mag-lesson sa class.
Okay, what's your question?
Ay, okay. Sige, sir.
Nakalimutan na natin.
For your third question, sir, from what we learned about individualism and collectivism in the church, how can we balance both to create unity and equality in our Christian society?
Simple. Let us try to go back the Bible text that I have mentioned to you earlier. I said, our starting point is this text. Love God and also love your neighbor. From that, it speaks about the balance between individualism and collectivism. Diba? If you love God, that means to say, you need to also supply your love for God, and also for others. But always remember, you cannot love God without loving yourself. As being stated in CCC number 1700, alam niyo ba yung CCC?
Ayan, sir.
Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
So, dyan din tayo bumabase sa ating church doctrines para alam natin kung ano yung ipinapahiwatig ng simbahan. Okay. It says there that the dignity of the human person is rooted in the image and likeness of God, just as to what being mentioned there in the book of Genesis. In the book of Genesis, during the creation, when God created man in His own image and likeness. Therefore, we have that dignity. And also, we are dignified by God. And with that, it speaks about our being unique. Our being unique. Now, when we speak about striving the balance between individualism and collectivism, as to what I have made mentioned earlier, that our starting point is these two things. You need to care and love yourself and also others. Kumbaga, yung sinabi ko kanina na may vertical relationship between God, you, and others, horizontal, and you. Diba? Ganyan. You need to strive the balance. Kasi, if you overemphasize kahit sa isa man lang, para kang tulad sa isang ibon na kapag damage yung isang tapak, hindi na siya makakalipan. Yes. Just like I have made mention, fides et ratio, faith and reason, is like two wings of a bird that soars high in contemplation for the truth. And you cannot attain to your very end if you overemphasize the other. Okay?
So, thank you so much sir for that. Yung third question na yun. Third question na yun. Okay, so, kaya mo ba sir?
Kaya ba?
Kaya mo yan. Okay, so Liam, ibato mo na sir yung fourth question.
Ready ka na, sir?
Okay, ready na.
For your fourth question, how can excessive individualism weaken a person's faith and harm relationships within the Christian community? And what steps can believers take to prevent personal freedom from turning into selfishness and that neglects God and others?
Okay, so what I have mentioned earlier, I think naka-mention na ako. Yung isa sa SIS ng school natin, yung Cora Personalis. And also, yung Cora Personalis, care for others, for and with others, and also care for the society. Care for the society. Now, how can we prevent from weakening our faith in relation to individualism? By doing what we ought to, especially by addressing the covenantal relationship, by doing that, and also by attending church worship, particularly in every church liturgical celebration, just like the celebration of the Mass, where the Mass is the highest form of prayer.
Yes.
And in fact, liturgy is the summit of all Christian life. Kumbaga, dito tayo kumukuha ng lakas ng loob sa ating sinaselebrate, just like the Holy Mass. Kung may pagkain tayo para sa ating body, material food, meron din tayo food for our soul, spiritual food. That is the Eucharist. And the Eucharist will satisfy our longing, our hunger for God.
Yes.
Parang the Eucharist is part of the liturgy.
Yes, in fact. And in fact, liturgy of the Eucharist or the Eucharistic celebration is one of the 7 sacraments in our church, in the Catholic Church. The Holy Eucharist.
So, yung Eucharist, yung pinaka-prominent sa lahat ng sacrament.
Yes. Talaga lang natin na yes, dahil dyan tayo kumukuha ng lakas na loob at siya ang bumubuhay sa atin, spiritual and also bodily. Kasi the perfect offering in the Mass is Jesus Christ Himself.
So,
Ano yung sabi niya? If you drink and eat my body and blood, you will no longer, ano yun? Hindi ka na gugutumin, hindi ka na magugutom, at hindi ka na mauugaw. Because Jesus Christ will satisfy our hunger and thirst and our longing.
Ay, question ko, sir.
Yes.
Nasabi mo kanina na the Eucharist is the food for the soul. How can that be, sir?
Let's try to understand human person. Human person, according to Saint Thomas Aquinas, is composed of or substantial union of body and soul. Without the presence of the soul, the body will not live. The body will not live. And without the presence of the soul, we will eventually die. Okay? And since our soul is spiritual, we need food that can supply that spiritual hunger. And that is the Eucharist. That is the spiritual food which was being offered by Christ. And also, Christ himself is the one being offered and perfect offering to the Father.
Okay, sir, so we're down to our last question. I'm so sad na matapos ko yung podcast natin because curious pa talaga ako about theological things. But for your last question, sir, how can the church as a community battle against over-individualism in our country, sir?
Let me quote the Bible text again from 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 27 that says, "We are the member of the body of Christ, the church." With that, how can we solve the problem of over-individualistic values in our country? Now, given the answers that I have made mention earlier, the church can combat the individualistic mentality or over-individualism by calling to mind its members, by emphasizing the responsibility of each members, and also by emphasizing also the formation of each members. Again, to his or her relationship with God.
Okay, so this question, sir, is actually in my mind ever since the first class. So follow-up question, sir. What is your message or call to action to us, or not only to us, but to all youth here in the Philippines, sir, sa aming maisabuhay para mabatang namin yung over-individualism?
Okay,
What should we do, sir?
that's very interesting. Kumbaga, yan yung pinakadulo
Yes, sir.
na tatanungan at saka mensahe. And I like it.
Yes, everything.
Kumbaga, if I'm going to give a message, ito lang. Simple. Just live out the covenantal relationship with God. The covenant relationship with God and also His people. Yan lang. Na to fight against over-individualistic, always put in mind that you belong to a community. You belong to the church, which is the body of Christ. And with that, you have that responsibility to supply your love to God with all your heart, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and also your love for others as yourselves. Ang message lang is, again, yung sinabi ko kanina na new evangelization. I'm so thankful kasi natakil nyo yan in that age. At least meron tayong maging modelo for the young people nowadays. And I'm so thankful na andyan kayo and very curious and willing to listen and also willing to spread the good news.
Yes, sir.
And in fact, being witness, good news or the gospel, being witness of Christ's mercy and love, we can share that to others. As to what I have made mention in the new evangelization, your role, every role of young people is to reawaken the spirit of being Catholic, not only by name, but also by being active Catholic members of the church.
So guys, as you can see, Sir Joey has proved his expertise about theological ideas, about Bible, about individualism and how we are going to battle it. So one thing I learned is being individualist is okay. It's not bad as human as you are. Let us just not forget about our relationship and faith to God. And we should love ourselves and love God and love others as well. As human and Catholic as we are in the Philippines, we strive to be better, not only socially but also spiritually with God. So that's what I learned about Sir Joey, and it was really meaningful for me, as this will be a push start for me to become a new person living the true faith of God. So also, Liam, if you have, did you learn something from today?
Yes, of course. Isa sa natatak talaga sa aking isipan o sir, yung quote na sinabi ng Pope na to maintain balance, you have to love God, love yourself, love your neighbors with all your strength, with all your might, with all your soul. So, yun na po talaga ang pinaka nakapag-move sa aking heart. Thank you for listening.
At para masuplayan ko yan, punta kayo kay Sir Maki.
Yes.
Kasi master ko yan siya.
Oh,
When it
Sir
comes
Maki.
to philosophy and theology.
Yes, sir. Okay, so everyone, that's it for today. Let's us thank and clap for Sir Joey, as it would not be successful without him. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
So we are your pod captains in today's episode. Signing off.
Bye!
Bye.